It's Kimmy. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh. Here we go.
Hey guys. So today I decided I'm gonna do a daily vlog, but I'm also it's finally time for me to tell the story. I'm doing laundry for my mom, because if you don't remember, my mom said this.
I was so in a hurry to do my laundry because none of my two daughters doing my laundry.
It was her cue to be like,
Kimmy, can you do my laundry too?
so I'm doing laundry while I am talking to you guys, kind of updating you on what's been going on and taking you along with me on what I'm going to be doing today. How it's been for us in quarantine. It hasn't been too bad, to be honest. We've been driving around, so it's been kind of nice getting out of the house and just being able to drive around and out, see different scenery. I was getting a little tired of staying home, and I was just feeling almost like lethargic and didn't feel like I want to do anything. Baby update. I've been feeling a little bit heavier lately. Feeling like I can't breathe properly. Hence my breathing right now. Especially if I'm like moving around. Even like the slightest like short walk up the stairs has been it's kind of been a little bit of a workout for me. But I need to try to stay as active as possible. Ryan and I took a class. It wasn't really much of a class, to be honest. It was more like a introduction to what you should buy into, but it did help with like how to keep relaxed during labor and other ways that Ryan can help keep me relaxed, especially just practicing being relaxed, like how I lay down and what ways to keep comfortable. I'm gonna go to my room. We have to fix my room up a little bit. I'm gonna get to folding this laundry, and then we'll go ahead and sit down and talk about the story that I had planned to share with you for this longest time already. Whew. I'm gonna get to folding. Burning stuff in where the roadway was. Oh shit. Then the people from the other side saw, and then they called like 911. And then the fire department came. So what happened? And then there was fire people there. I was like, hi, is there a problem? He's like, yeah, there was just someone burning. I think it's like grandpa or something. So what happened? They're just gonna burn it out and then sell it. What was he burning there? Leaves or some shit. I don't know. Why would he burn it? So apparently my grandpa decided to burn some things in our backyard. And there's firefighters at our house. Yeah, they're walking up. Let's go check it out. Stay. Go. Did you call Dad? No. Sorry, he doesn't know. So they're headed on their way up there. I don't know if you can see them. Dad?
Yeah.
Did the fire department call you yet?
No, why?
So apparently Grandpa's burning stuff in the backyard. And
Oh, come on. Again.
it's illegal, so someone called the fire department. And
Now we're
they're
gonna pay.
I don't know. And they're here, and they said that they just said it's okay. We're just gonna put it out, and then we'll give your dad a call.
Okay.
So yeah, just expect
Can I
the
talk to Lolo? Can I talk to Lolo?
he's upstairs.
Yeah, pagbantayan ko man. Isa din yan.
So yeah, I don't know if you saw that they were burning out the fire. Whew. Did you see the fire department, Zeus? The firefighters? Did you see the firefighters? Oh. I'm surprised Bella's not barking, huh? Did she bark when the firefighters were?
She didn't even see them. Only this one saw them.
Don't bark, Bella. Alright guys, as you can tell, I'm downstairs again. So I spoke to the firemen. You know, I told them I'm so sorry, we didn't know that he was doing this. And they're like, it's okay. Just don't let it happen again. I'm just gonna continue putting this away. I have to clear this SD actually. So after I do that, we're gonna get to talking.
A few moments later.
Hey guys, sorry, it's been a couple hours since you last saw me. As I'm waiting for my hair to dry, I decided that it's finally time. Sorry if my hair's a mess, I haven't combed it out yet. But it's finally time that I talk to you guys about the story that I've been meaning to tell you guys ever since my pregnancy announcement has come out. As you can see here, for so long. And I'll tell you the stories after. It has been a roller coaster ride. And obviously, I've been unsuccessful. We have been unsuccessful. I've said it probably like 5, 6, 7, 8 times already. But I wanted to finally explain what I meant by there has been a whole roller coaster of things that has happened. Start from the beginning. So for those of you who don't know, Ryan is my husband. We got married in September 2018. We were long distance for a while, and then we finally moved here May of last year, 2019. He basically just lived here as we waited for his PR. During this time, we were unofficially trying because obviously we wanted to make sure that he could get settled in here and there were no issues. We talked a lot about having children for a very long time. And obviously it was our first time moving in together. We started learning how to deal with certain things. And I've been struggling with anxiety and panic attacks for a very, very long time. Ryan as well was trying to learn how to deal with that in person because it's very different from being supportive online and then being supportive in person. So we had some trials and tribulations, and during that time, my anxiety and my panic attacks had also peaked. I won't get into much detail because I already explained that in the video that I created last year. If you guys want to see it, the link will be down below. During that time, my body went through a whole ton of changes from the stress that I was feeling. It could be a factor of me getting older that my reactions to certain things were different. For example, my period, the time of the month, Mother Nature. I was starting to get different symptoms. It would be like 10 to 15 days late every single time. And it wasn't something normal that I experienced often. So I did consult with a doctor, and he did tell me that it could be just a result of your panic attack. Your body's trying to regulate itself all over again, yada, yada, yada. So it was hard for me to kind of track when my ovulation times were, in general, when I was supposed to be expecting my period. It came every month, which was not unusual. It was just very unusual that it came at very, very odd and weird times. Sometime near the end of the year, I want to say around my birthday, around October time, Ryan and I were really talking seriously about, hey, I really want to start a family, and like I want to start it soon because I would prefer to have a baby before I turned 26. Ryan as well, he did want to have a baby before he turned 30, which is in 2021. I spoke to my doctor asking him like, hey, is there anything that we can do to kind of check if everything's okay in terms of trying to have a baby? So he did say, you know, we usually wait a year before we actually look into things if things aren't happening. Because at this point, it was only a couple months or maybe 6 months or so. The doctor said, let's check your blood to see if everything's okay, if you're healthy, if there's anything wrong with your thyroid or anything like that. We did a blood test and everything turned out great. Everything turned out healthy. The only thing was that I was short of vitamin D, which is pretty common in Canada. He told me to start taking prenatal pills as well as vitamin D pills. Whew, I don't know why I'm so out of breath talking right now. Hold on. Fast forward a couple months later in January, I was telling the doctor I'm kind of getting frustrated because it's been a while and I keep getting late periods, and I check if I'm pregnant, and it just turns out I'm not. So he said, okay, let's try to do an ultrasound. So this was late January. I got the results back in the beginning of February, I believe it was. The ultrasounds basically read that I had a lot of immature eggs and that I needed to get further testing to know if I was PCOS. So PCOS stands for polycystic ovary syndrome, which is basically an imbalance in your hormonal levels in your ovaries. So it could be a result of multiple things, such as being overweight, which I am. When I asked the doctor, what does this mean for me being able to conceive, he did say that I would have a hard time conceiving, as well as the risks of having miscarriage would be much higher as well. So obviously, in hearing this news, I was very, very heartbroken. I remember when he told me the news, I just went straight into crying. I could not, like, he was saying more things to me, but it was almost as if my ears were just like blocked out, and I just thought, why? And I just remember thinking and feeling, why? So the doctor said, you know, it's not impossible. We're gonna double check if you are PCOS, because they were, at this point they were just saying possibly. And he did, you know, try to reassure me and tell me that, you know, it's still possible for you to be able to conceive and have children. There's many cases. Obviously at that point I wasn't very like I wasn't very positive. I wasn't thinking like, it's okay, like, we're gonna be okay. I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking like, why? That's all. I remember walking out like, why? And I'm so heartbroken. When I saw Ryan, because Ryan was waiting for me in the waiting room, I like instantly started crying, and he said, what happened? Luckily, there was only 2 other people in that waiting room, but he asked me what happened, and I gave him the papers, and I basically read the results to him, pointed out what I had, and told him what it meant, and I just started crying again. And I remember Ryan just folding the paper and looking down, and he said, I feel sick. It's not ideal news when you've been trying and been wanting to have a child for the longest time. I couldn't stop crying, and Ryan just took my hand. He said it's gonna be okay. So we walked out of the doctor's room after I received some specialists' numbers. Oh gosh, I remember the first person I messaged was a coworker of mine who I knew was did not have a child, and I turned to her because everyone at work everyone at my work knew that I wanted to have a baby so bad for so long. And so she obviously told me some stories, gave me words of encouragement, and then when I finally found the news out, she was the first person I turned to. And God bless her soul, she said, you know, I'll continuously pray for you. Just keep your head up, because it's not the end of the world. It's not the last, it's not a final thing, and it's not set in stone, basically, in that there are results that come from it. So don't lose hope. When I saw her in person, I spoke to her again, and I couldn't even keep positive, but I asked her, what do I do? How do I get over this feeling? God, I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't want to cry this much, but it still gets to me. You just never forget that feeling. She told me, you know, it never gets easier hearing that news. It never gets easier, and even finding out you can't have a child, it just never gets easier. You just kind of learn to live with it. But just always keep positive until the end. Pray, she said, pray, hope,
And just keep positive until the end of it. Until they finally tell you, you know, that you've tried everything and it just won't work. Fast forward a couple weeks later, I went to go see a specialist for diabetes. I'm not diabetic, but there is a diabetic medication that people who are diagnosed with PCOS take to regulate the hormones in their ovaries. And basically, she needed to run some tests and do a proper diagnosis before she can give me the pills. She asked me a whole bunch of questions, like, how have you been feeling this past month in terms of, are you feeling any physical changes or anything that's painful, or any hair growth? So I explained to her that I was supposed to get my period in the beginning of the month. I didn't get it, and she asked me when was my last period, and I told her basically New Year's. What type of symptoms do I get when I get my period? So I explained to her, you know, my regular stuff, but then she asked me, is there anything different that you're feeling? And then I finally told her, it's weird, my breasts have been tender all month, and I've been getting a lot of headaches. So she said, okay, we're gonna do some blood tests to see if you are, because that's the only way we're gonna be able to tell whether you are PCOS. But I suggest you take a pregnancy test before all of the blood tests, because if you are pregnant, then there's no reason for us to do a blood test. I didn't take it as anything because we had been trying for so many months, and when the ultrasounds came back, I kind of looked over being pregnant at all, because I just felt like, oh my gosh, like, I'm just gonna have a hard time getting pregnant, like, there's no point. I told Ryan that this is what they told me, and that day we went to Superstore and we got a pregnancy test with 2 tests. And then basically, that's how I found out I was pregnant. I couldn't believe it. At first, I couldn't believe it. I wasn't sure. Like, how can the doctors do an ultrasound and then tell me that I was I was gonna have a hard time being pregnant when I already was pregnant? Keep in mind, when they do track the weeks that you're pregnant, they track from the first day of your last period, which was January 1st. At this point, it was near the end of February. No, the beginning of March. I believe we found out on March 3rd of 2020. So I already had been about 9, I believe it was 8 weeks or 9 weeks pregnant. During this whole time, I was pregnant. And so when I got the news, when I saw the test, I couldn't believe it. Yes, I was happy, but a part of me was like, am I sure? Is this a true thing? Should I buy a different pregnancy test? I did book an appointment with my doctor to get blood tests done. And before that time, I think it was like 3 days before that time, I told Ryan, like, what am I, like, should we get another pregnancy test? Like, I need to know for sure before I tell anyone else, because the only people that I told at that time was my sister and Ryan. It just turns out I was pregnant, and then finally I just felt a huge sense of relief, partly confusion, like, how did the doctors miss this? And just blessed, like, feeling blessed the whole time. Like, I don't even know how to explain that feeling to you guys. 1 month you're hearing that you're probably gonna have a hard time conceiving a baby, and then the next month you find out you're actually pregnant, and you've been pregnant the whole time. I'm beyond thankful, and I'm beyond, I don't even know the words to explain it. Like, I just feel like I don't know how to explain it, guys. Like, I prayed, and that song that I the song cover that I released last week was the song that I listened to constantly after I found out that I was possibly PCOS. And I prayed and I cried to that song so much. So it does have a lot of meaning to me, and it does have a lot of, it was basically my prayer just to God about, well, how can I get through this? And I just trust that everything will fall into place by your grace, that you're gonna give me a baby if it's really meant for me. It's crazy. We're so happy. Ryan and I are so happy. And we can't wait. So that was the story of, I guess, my pregnancy story, or I don't know what to really call it. I understand there are people out there who have it way worse than I do, and my heart goes out to all of you, because I already felt this little heartbreak. And I can't imagine for someone who has a worse story than I had, like what you guys go through or how you guys feel. Let me know if any of you guys have any similar stories, or what you guys think about what happened, like even with the doctor, like how they missed me being pregnant this whole time. Is that a common thing? Let me know what you guys think, and what you guys have experienced, if you have had any situations similar to this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. We would really appreciate for you guys to support this family channel that we're trying to change it into. And yeah, follow us on this journey, because it's one heck of a journey.
It's Kimmy.